What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with the overall market thus far. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total. Not to mention 8.1% APY in uninvested cash. The offer ends very soon, in just about a week and a half from now. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening with the market. So overall, the market's holding up very, very nicely, and we are looking more bullish in terms of the setup so far. However, despite that, whether this move continues or if we end up ultimately getting a rug pull is still going to depend on Jerome Powell. So I want to give you guys a reminder that we're expecting a big move at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because we have the Fed interest rate decision coming out. We're expecting the Fed to cut the overall rates by about 25 basis points. That's the most likely possibility. But that's not the only thing coming out. We also have the rate projections for the first, second, and third year. This will also cause volatility at 2 p.m. After that, we have the Fed press conference, Jerome Powell speech at 2:30 p.m. So look for some volatility when all of that comes out. But anyways, let's talk about what's happening with the market right now. So right now, SPY looks bullish in terms of its setup, but just note this: when I zoom out and go to the 4-hour time frame, we are range bound. So SPY, we tend to reject off 608. If we break 608 on SPY and we hold above it, we're going to favor upside, and SPY could be breaking all-time highs pretty easily, pushing into the 610s. If we reject on SPY and we end up losing 602, this is going to be risky, and SPY is going to be at risk of dumping all the way down towards 600 and 598. So keep that in mind. Anyways, as far as the way we're moving, we're just getting very tight on this pen. It's going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth for now. But we'll have to see if SPY could try to break this resistance. There's going to be a big test right here. If we break out of this and we start to break out of this pennant, that could be causing a very, very big move. On the 30 minutes time frame, there's a potential setup here. So if we just turn off all other indicators except our EMAs and MACD, that's all you really need for this one. There's a left shoulder here. There's like a head and there's a right shoulder that's essentially forming. So this could be favoring an inverse head and shoulders. Sorry, the left shoulder is like right over here. And then we have like our head down here, then a right shoulder. So this could be favoring a push for 608 plus. It does look like a bullish setup to me. But we need confirmation. We need to see SPY break above the 606.5 area to push for 608, and then eventually new all-time highs for the 610s. And if we lose 602, this could be dumping a lot lower. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But overall, we do look more bullish off this inverse head and shoulders. There's a nice accumulation that is formed. I think we're doing a great job. So far, so good from SPY. Now, I also want to call out that there are imbalances to fill above. So that's like another confluence of upside. So the chart does favor upside a bit more. But whether or not this continues, once again, depends on the big guy, Jerome Powell. So just to make things very simple, okay, you don't have to go over all these complicated setups. Just know this. It's all about the levels. If SPY loses 602, expect some kind of rug pull, especially if Jerome Powell speaking that happens. If we break past 608 and Jerome Powell pumps us, then yes, we could be breaking all-time highs and pushing into the 610s. That's all you need to know, guys. That's the main thing to remember. Otherwise, we're just watching to see if these setups pan out. For ES, we look decent. We're range bound right now. Now, if I bring back our supply and demand zones, just know that there is resistance we're fighting right here around the 6140 area. If that breaks, we're looking for essentially a test in your all-time highs. We could get closer to about the 6170 area right over here. If we break this, we could be once again approaching those highs. If we get a rejection, we end up losing 6100 flat. I will turn more bearish, especially if we end up losing our demand zone. So we're range bound right now, but there is a little bit more upside potential in this setup, trying to get back up to the highs from 2 days ago. So we'll see about that if we end up getting back up to these highs. Overall, we are looking quite decent on ES, at least so far. For others out there, I also want to call out, just to be safe, Nvidia. Nvidia is looking decent. It's trying to get bought back up. We did call out 136 in my earlier video, and we're doing a good job. So if we end up losing 133, look for 131. And if we break past 136.75, we're looking for 140. Very close to our imbalance above. So I think this is favoring upside a bit more, and we could be approaching 140. Overall, Nvidia is doing a good job, so we favor upside for 136. So we'll have to see what happens after that. For Bitcoin, we have resistance around this 104,700 area. We have support around 102,900. We're stuck in the middle. There is a little bit of weakness here that's developing, so we could see a test of about the 103,000 area, close to where this 50 EMA is. But we'll see if we bounce thanks to Powell back up to 107,000 or not. So we'll see about that. There's a little bit of weakness nonetheless, so just keep that in mind. Despite that, like I said before, the market looks bullish. Now there's a monster, and that's Tesla. It's continuing to break all-time highs. I mentioned I was looking for a range between 460 and 480. We were in the range in the beginning, but now Tesla's breaking out, so it's even stronger than what I was expecting. And nonetheless, we're going to likely continue to try to get back up to about that 490 area. If we break that, I think 500 is on the table. We could be going all the way up there. Now, whether or not that happens could depend on Powell. So we'll see if he pumps things. If he does, we could be getting close to 500 for Tesla. If not, there could be a rug pull back down to about 450. But nonetheless, we look more bullish, and I think Tesla has potential. For NQ, in my opinion, is looking decent. We have the support to watch around 22,262, and we have resistance around 22,400, going back and forth and back and forth. So we could be pushing for 22,400. There is potential for it to try to bounce off this 20 EMA right here, so it does have potential to push. But just know, if we get the breakout or not, like I said before, depends on Powell. If we lose 22,200, we could be dipping closer to 22,000 flats. If we break past 22,400, we could be looking for 22,500 as our target, and then new all-time highs. That depends on Powell, so just keep that in mind. For others out there, we happen to have the QQQ, which is starting to consolidate. We did dip a little bit as we predicted, only to get bought back up. So if we were to lose 533 thanks to Powell, we could be dipping for 530, eventually 527. If we end up bouncing, we're looking for a pushback up towards 538, which if we break, we're looking for the 540s and 542. We're stuck in the middle going back and forth for now, so we'll see if we bounce. Otherwise, we're just kind of range bound for the time being. So just keep that in mind. The QQQ is just stuck in the range, not really doing a whole lot. There is some upside potential if we hold above our 20 EMA. Otherwise, we're just kind of trapped for now. So I think that it's going to most likely shuffle in this range. We'll give this more time to develop, and then we'll see what ends up happening, at least from here. For Apple, we look more bullish. We're making higher highs and higher lows. If we manage to hold above 250, we're looking for an attempt to push all the way up for 255. And if we lose support at 252, we're looking for a dip to 250. This looks bullish. It's favoring 255, but that depends on FOMC. For now, it does look a little bit more bullish. IWM Russell 2000 looks a little bit weaker. We could be dipping to about this 20 EMA, or the 200 EMA, and then we'll see if we bounce off that or not. So there could be a dip closer to about the lower 231s, around 231.2 to be precise. And we'll see what happens after that. If we hold this, we could attempt to bounce, but we're a little bit weaker than the markets. We'll see if we get that rebound or not. This will depend on FOMC, but just no small caps are just not as strong for now. Coinbase is looking so. It is dipping a little bit. We could be dipping closer to 302. And we'll see if we bounce off that or not. So there could be a little bit of downside coming. So I could see a little bit of downside, and we'll see what kind of move we make from there. So just keep that in mind. For Amazon is just range bound, going back and forth right here. We're looking to be watching to see if 229.7 holds. If this holds, we could be looking for essentially this imbalance fill for 232. And if we lose support, we could be dipping for essentially 228. So we'll see if we bounce or not over here. There could be some potential to hold our 20 EMA. We'll have to see what happens depending on these factors and FOMC. For Meta, I could see a small dip to 620, but it's not really doing much. For the most part, we're just completely choppy. Last 3 days were just completely choppy on Meta, so it might tip a little bit, but then it's not really doing much as well until we see FOMC. Microsoft looks a little bit weaker. We could be retesting 415. We'll see if we bounce or not. So just keep that in mind. It might be a small dip, and we'll see what happens from there. Google's also very, very choppy. We're looking at a range between 194 and 200. So I expect this to just remain kind of choppy, and we'll give this more time to develop. So we'll see what happens from there. But anyways, that's pretty much it for my video. I want to thank you all so much for listening. Know that Tesla is very strong. It's once again trying to break all-time highs, doing a great job so far at holding up. And SPY remains range bound, but there is potential in this chart, as I did call out a potential inverse head and shoulders in the 30 minutes time frame. So we'll have to see if that pans out, but just know it depends on FOMC. But for now, the charts are looking decent. They're holding up quite well, and we'll see if this setup plays out or not on SPY, right? There's a possible inverse head and shoulders. We'll see about it. Not a guarantee until we see FOMC and such. So until I see you guys again in just a couple of hours, have a good day and peace out.